Funny travel stories and behind the scenes chat. I'm Yellow Productions. I do travel guides that are fun, informative, and entertaining. And in this fireside chat here today, I'm going to be sharing with you some funny stories from the last 12 years of making this YouTube channel, and maybe even longer. We'll show some stories and show some old videos even before this channel got started, from the very first tiny hotel room we stayed at in Tokyo, where we had complete culture shock, to meeting some very interesting and intoxicating friends in Oktoberfest, to ending up on Japanese television. How many stories am I going to tell? Well, it depends how much time we have, or I should say, it depends how much I can fit into 45 minutes. But if you're on the live stream, I look forward to hanging out with y'all, hearing your feedback. If you're watching the archive, well, make sure to click subscribe, click the bell to turn on notifications so you get notified of these future live streams that I do. And so the way this is going to work is I've got some clips queued up from previous videos that we shot. I'm going to share them with you, tell some stories, share some behind-the-scenes perspective, and we'll just get through as many as we get. And this is the kind of live stream I'll definitely be prioritizing the chat to hear what you think and take some of your questions in between these funny stories. So the first funny story that I want to share with you, and it comes from the origins of Yellow Productions. Many people say, Chris, where did you get your start doing Yellow Productions? And I often point to this trip that OC Girl and I took to Japan in 2004. It was the first time I went to Japan. It was the first time I was in Asia, as a matter of fact. And we checked in, actually in Osaka, to the Toyoko Inn, and up until this point, I've definitely never seen a hotel anything like this. So I want to share about 30 seconds with this video with you, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about it. So we're outside the station now, and we found our hotel. It's the blue lights right behind my head. This is the Toyoko Inn. So we made it to the Toyoko Inn, and let's go check in and see what our room looks like. Let's go. You're here. Come inside. So you're inside. I'm glad you could make it. This sort of third of the room is my part of the room. And you can see there's a nice twin bed. I have a desk. Okay, so just a little tidbit there. But that room was so small that there was literally no place to open up our suitcase in the room. Well, normally where I think of opening our suitcase, I think of opening our suitcase on the floor. That's probably where you open your suitcase when you go to a hotel room. In that room, you had to open your suitcase, or we had to open our suitcase actually on top of the bed, because there wasn't enough room on the floor to actually open a suitcase. And then you wonder, well, where do you put the suitcase when you're done with it? The bed was raised up enough that you could store your suitcase underneath the bed. And then there was a desk that was there in the room, but there was no chair because there wasn't room enough for a chair. The bed was actually the chair that you would sit on to use the desk. And then the bathroom was in the middle of the room. And so then the part that you saw with my bed, there was an equal section on the other side of the bathroom where OC Girl was. And Tau Empire Kid, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, so if I did that poorly, sorry. Sometimes it's hard to tell where the words start and stop on these things. Baby Chris, yes, that was Chris from 2004, so for sure, Baby Chris 16 years ago. Toyoko Inn, that was I think we stayed there maybe one other time before. OC Girl and I keep saying we need to stay at another Toyoko Inn to do a real video and do it justice. Pila asks, what's the biggest hotel room we've stayed at? In Macau, the Conrad Hotel, we were upgraded to like a 2,000 square foot suite, and also we got like an amazing suite at the JW Marriott in Las Vegas. So if you want to see those two rooms, and they're like 2,000 square feet, it's like the hotel room was bigger than our house, so you can check that out. Varun says, isn't that the hotel near the highway? That hotel, that Toyoko Inn in Osaka, is right next to the train station. Elvis wants to know, what's the drink of the day today? Today I am drinking some milk tea. And it's kind of a Earl Grey themed milk tea. And Gravel says, 16 years, how long have you and your wife been together? We are celebrating, boy, well, let's see, 2004. We started dating in 2004. So how long have we been together? Due to the math, public math, that's like 16 years, right? But we've known each other for a couple years before that. YS noticed that the background music on that is the Doraemon song. It sure is the Doraemon song. Robert says, I booked a room just like that. The pictures on the website looked somewhat roomy, but it wasn't so. Plus, I kept tripping over the step up to the room. Yeah, it's really annoying. A lot of Japanese hotels have steps from the room to the bathroom and things like that. I find those to be fairly annoying. Seeking Vegas Sunrise says, I didn't age a bit. Hopefully I retain a little bit of a youthful look. Let's see. David wants to know, what was the smallest hotel room you've stayed in? That one was pretty small. There was also one... let's see, one we've stayed at that's really small is in Haneda Airport. There's a hotel that's in the airport. Those rooms are tiny. And I have a video queued up that I've edited from our last stay in Tokyo. It was a really tiny hotel room, too. Actually, the subject of the video is going to be like something like tiny Tokyo hotel room. It was really small. Okay, let's go on to the second funny story. And the second funny story is from a trip that we took to Naples, Italy. And Naples, Italy, if you're not familiar, Naples, Italy is in the south of Italy. And Naples is famous for Neapolitan-style pizza, the pizza that I feel like is kind of making the rage around the world. The pizza is kind of considered to have started there. It's the thin crust, kind of round pizza. Naples is also famous for its buffalo mozzarella. But what Naples is also famous for is... the trash strikes that they have. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I want to share this 2-minute video with you that I call Naples, Italy, the City of Trash.
Yellow Productions presents
Naples, Italy, the City of Trash. Almost everywhere you go in this town, there is a big, stinking pile of trash. Some cities are famous for their sights. Naples has quite a few nice ones, but it's most famous for its trash problem.
Naples is actually quite a beautiful city once you get away from the trash. It's situated on the Bay of Naples, next to Mount Vesuvius, with lots of history, lots of old churches, and old castles. But boy, the trash is a problem. Since 2007, there's been a lack of landfill space and also mafia control of waste management, causing trash to pile up everywhere throughout the city. People try to put their trash in a dumpster, but when the dumpster's full, well, they just put it next to the trash can or the dumpster. In this picture, there's one trash can right in the middle where my finger is. Incredible. Here the trash is overflowing on 2 trash cans, but at some point people just say screw it and put their trash anywhere. Now, Naples gotten to the point that wherever there's space for trash, trash will appear. At this point, it's all fair game. On the sides of street corners, in front of churches, at a construction site, next to where cars park, and then the wind comes and blows the trash everywhere else. Like this trash. It was probably in those dumpsters at one point in time. Some stuff that doesn't fit in the dumpsters and just ends up on the street are furniture and mattresses. I saw quite a few mattresses that looked like they've been on the street for a long time. But there are some entrepreneurs with all this trash. This guy driving the blue truck is driving around between dumpsters to pick up sellable trash. Maybe at a thrift store, garage sale, who knows. In July of 2011, the European Union has actually considered imposing trade sanctions on Italy.
Okay, there's about another minute of that video, so if you want to watch it, you can just search for Yellow Productions, the City of Trash. But P-Law clearly been watching Yellow Productions for a long time. She says, I remember you shared that video with us before. It's one of my favorites. And, when people talk about, like, hey, Chris, how do you deal with the trolls on YouTube? One of the places that I probably get the biggest trolls for sure are on that video, the Italian mafia people or things like that that says they're sending their brother Vinny to, come and off me because I mentioned something about Naples. And then there's also some really interesting dialogue on that video between the northern Italians and the southern Italians, because apparently there's kind of a rivalry that goes on there. And Naples, people often say, like, Chris, how could you make a video like that? And when I make videos like this, and by the way, if you got to the end of the video, which I didn't show you, it says, hey, just because there's trash doesn't mean you shouldn't go there. The pizza's delicious, the food's delicious. There's not always a trash problem. But I do like to actually portray, like, the real parts of things, and I think that those are the things, if you were just to watch, like, an Expedia travel guide, they'd show you, like, the highlights of Hollywood, and then they wouldn't show you the vagrants and the beggars and the strung out people that are asleep that you have to walk over on the street to Hollywood. And Elvis says it should be called Italy's New York City trash. And Joe Brown says Rome and Florence are my favorite place in Italy. No trash there. Absolutely. I love Italy as a country to travel to. I really like Rome. I really like Venice. I didn't like Florence as much, only because Florence has a lot of like scooters, and I did not enjoy the diesel smell in Florence. Let's see. Mr. E, the mystery, finally made it to a live stream. Welcome to the live stream. Drinky almost missed it because apparently YouTube wasn't kind with notifications. Honestly, Bridget says the amount of time it must take you to prep these lives, you truly keep us entertained the entire time. It's one of my husband's and I's favorite things to do is watch these. Oh, thank you, Bridget. I appreciate it. Yeah, these live streams in particular take a bit longer because I have to go find the videos and get the videos and get a clip or download the thing, and then I have to make some notes to remember what I'm going to talk about to have a bit of structure, but they are a lot of fun. And the good news about the live streams, though, is I don't have to edit them. So that's actually what takes a long time from the videos. I'm not saying it makes them take less time, because probably all said and done, it takes about the same. But Night Wolf Villa says, what started your interest in Asia? Probably that trip to Japan, frankly. OC Girl did foreign exchange school in Japan when she was in college. So she's always had an affinity for Japan. She took me there. The first time I went there, I was convinced I was going to starve, and I'd totally get lost if she left my side for more than a second. And then I quickly realized the food's actually tasty, and even if you get lost, the Japanese people are so helpful. You just ask them and say, hey, can you help me find something? And they will go out of your way to do it. Emmett says you did a good job. It doesn't get any more real than that. And Drinky says, please don't stop doing these live streams. Well, I mean, they all have to stop because I can't live stream forever, but I will have another live stream next week. Thank you, Drinky, and thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. Let's go on to funny story and behind the scenes chat number 3. This one is the one from the thumbnail of this video. And some people who from Hawaii or who recognize Hawaii recognize that the thumbnail was a picture of me with Waikiki Beach behind me. It is the intro shot that I did for my Things to Know Before You Go to Oahu video. And for that one, you know, you're like, oh, how's the beach? But the water's behind me. The beach is behind me because I'm actually out in the water. I was shooting this with a GoPro, and in Waikiki, there's this little kind of like break wall, and I was trying to get a video where I was doing the intro scene and the wave was crashing over the wall because I thought that would make a really neat intro scene. And so here I want to share with you the video that made it into the Things to Know Oahu video. That's the first 20 seconds of this, and then all the other takes that I did to try to get this video.
10 things to know before you go to Oahu in Hawaii. I'm Chris, this is Yellow Productions. I am at Waikiki Beach on Oahu. This is part of my series on Hawaii. The 10 best beaches on Oahu in Hawaii. The 10 best beaches on Oahu. I'm Chris, this is Yellow Productions. I do 10 things to know before you 10 things to know before you go to 10 things to know before you go to Oahu in Hawaii. The 10 best beaches on Oahu in Hawaii. I'm Chris. 10 things to know before you go to Oahu in Oahu. But in this video, I'll be showing you the best places to swim, surf, snorkel, enjoy. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click here to subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, or watch some of my other videos here or here. Thanks. Bye-bye. This about the beaches.
The lengths I will go through to get a good opening and closing shot. So, we talk about like how long does it take you to prepare for a live stream? This should be more like, Chris, how long did it take you to shoot that? I probably spent an hour and a half out in the water with my GoPro waiting for the waves. I'm sure some other people that were there at the beach thought I was absolutely bonkers and crazy, but actually I think that video did pretty well. And I think it was actually worth it for getting the one opening shot that had the wave that broke over pretty good. Ryan says, your background room has changed. Where are you streaming from? Yes, instead of streaming from my live stream studio for this fireside chat today, I'm streaming from my editing bay. So this is more my office where the editing goes on. Guy asked about the previous Italy video, how the migrant crisis, I was there before the migrant crisis. Kathy had her Hawaii trip canceled due to COVID, but she will get there someday. I hope you do. Jennifer says it's a good snorkeling spot too. I do see people snorkeling over there. I like in Oahu, I like either Hanauma Bay or I also like in Ko'olina. I think the snorkeling's pretty good over there. Drinky says one of the things you should know is that it is hard to film this shot. It is hard to film this shot, and absolutely it was worth the water up the nose. Yeah, I was shooting. So when I go on a lot of trips, I often have a bunch of videos planned to shoot, and so I'll shoot open and closings and multiple introductions and multiple conclusions, and so that trip I was shooting the 10 things to know before you go to Oahu. I was also shooting the best beaches of Oahu. I might have been shooting cheap eats in Oahu, and so that's how I'll do it. I'll just try one, I'll try another, I'll move to another spot, I'll shoot the intro, and I'll have a bunch of intros and a bunch of conclusions, and then when I get back to the editing bay, I'm like, oh, which one worked out the best? And Ibrahim says, what's the best beach in Oahu? I guess you're going to have to go watch the video, since I have a whole video about it. And Yuritsa said it is a lot of takes. It is a lot of takes. MT asks, I've been to Lanikai Beach. I have, over on the other side of Oahu. I don't make it over there all that much, so... Drinky asks what I'm drinking today. I'm drinking a milk tea today. Royal number 9 milk tea. All right, the fourth funny travel story behind the scenes chat. This is from when OC Girl and I went to Oktoberfest. And, so the first thing you hear about Oktoberfest and you think, when is Oktoberfest going to be? It's probably going to be in October, right? And we usually like to travel in September, October to go places. We figure kids are back in school in September. It makes the rates cheaper. So we planned a trip to Munich in September. We had no idea that September's when Oktoberfest was, and it turns out we happened to be in Munich during Oktoberfest. And we didn't realize that to go to Oktoberfest, you need to get into any of the big tents in Oktoberfest, which is where the real parties are. You have to reserve a table ahead of time. So we made a video titled Oktoberfest Outside the Tents, and we met an interesting friend in this video. So I'm going to show you about 2.5 minutes of this video and then talk about meeting interesting friends filming videos. But it's always one of the most interesting things to try and handle is if you're shooting some video and someone comes up to you while you're shooting, or someone comes up to me while I'm shooting, how to handle that and where to take that, because it's always a little bit different. So hopefully you like where I took this one. For the first 2 minutes, it's just me, and then we'll get to my new friend.
Yellow Productions presents
Oktoberfest 2013 in Munich, Germany. I'm your host, Chris.
And I'm blind.
Hey, nice to meet you. And today, we're going to be showing you around Oktoberfest. A really good time with lots of beer and amusement rides. Which one do you want to do first, Topher?
Ferris wheel.
All right, let's go on the Ferris wheel.
A ride on the Ferris wheel is the perfect way to start your Oktoberfest festivities because from the top of this wheel you can get a bird's eye view of the insanity that is Oktoberfest. This year, more than 6 million people are expected to attend Oktoberfest in the 16 days that the festival will be running. The main attraction are the big white tents you see here. 14 of them that are the Oktoberfest beer tents.
So the two things that make Oktoberfest different from a normal state fair is one, everybody's out here in their Bavarian finest attire, and number two are the beer tents. This is one of the beer tents. Inside is where they serve the beer, and these tents seat as many as 5,000 people. But guess what?
These tents are so popular that it's almost impossible to get inside. On a weekend, you'd have to be here by 10 a.m. or make a reservation. A reservation that you'd have to make in November for the following September's Oktoberfest.
I guess I'm going to be outside and admiring their wonderful decorations. All right, so now that we're back, the cameraman just got hit by someone who was really drunk. I said there's a lot of beer served Oktoberfest, so you have to be careful and sturdy. So where was I? Right, so as I was saying, you have to have a reservation to get in. So I guess I am just going to be outside admiring the decorations from here. Because there are a lot of drunks, there's also a lot of police, and it's 4:30 in the afternoon, and I've already seen 5 people pass out.
That's Munich.
Munich! Yeah, awesome!
Very good.
All right, it is very good.
Cheers.
Cheers!
The free-flowing beer at Oktoberfest makes people pretty friendly, and it's amazing the number of people who came up to me just because I had a camera. Here's one of my new German friends.
You make some motherfucking noise today.
I do make a lot of noise today.
Oh, you.
Yeah, me.
You are from England.
California. Where are you from?
I'm from Germany.
Germany. I'm Chris. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
What's your name?
Steve. And what's your
Steve?
name?
Mine's Chris.
Chris.
Yes.
It's a really motherfucking name.
It is my motherfucking name. All right. Have a good time at Oktoberfest.
You too.
All right. Auf Wiedersehen. The tents are all very elaborate, so much so they actually look like permanent structures. Yeah, so there we go. It's always fun meeting new people. As I said, Emmett said the German beer girl dresses drive him crazy. And for sure, one thing that's kind of cool about Oktoberfest that makes it different from maybe a standard fair is that people actually dress in traditional German attire. You know, but one of the things in a video that I did maybe a few live streams ago about things I no longer buy, and while it's cool when we're there and we're like, oh, like the lederhosen is cool, when would we ever wear the lederhosen, right? We'd never wear the lederhosen. And, here in California and probably in the U.S. and other places, Oktoberfest is popular for people to go and drink and enjoy their German beer, and I think that people do that as an excuse to wear their lederhosen that they bought at a previous Oktoberfest. Yes, and Carlos said, Chris. I didn't. I just repeated what he said. That's very different. And Laura said I was very good at diffusing that situation. Thank you, Laura. Let's see. A lot of people noticed that. Yes, it is a family-friendly channel, and I generally don't curse. Like I say, I was just repeating what somebody else was saying. So P-Law says, do you like drinking beer? If yes, what's your favorite type of beer? I don't really love beer, per se. I've taken more of an appreciation of beer as I've gotten older. I like beer in small containers, like 2 ounces, 3 ounces, like little glasses. Like a huge glass of beer, it's just really too much for me. I like light beers. I like Japanese beers because they're fairly light and airy. Like I like Sapporo, I like Asahi. I do not like dark beers because they're too just strong and bitter. When we went to Ireland, then we went to the Guinness, the Guinness brewery. Like each of us got a free pint of Guinness, and between the 2 of us, we could only drink 1.
Creaser says, how is Vegas? Next week's live stream is going to be all about Vegas. And I know there's a lot of questions people want to know. How is it? What's going on? And actually, I'm going to take all the Vegas discussion to next week's live stream that I'm going to bundle up Las Vegas news and Las Vegas rumors and talk all about Vegas. And by the way, somebody asked, Chris, when is your next Vegas video? My last Vegas video was just on Friday. If you missed it, it was the 23 cheapest eats on the Las Vegas Strip. And that was one I shot before the pandemic. I was holding it for things to get normal again, and clearly things aren't going to get normal for a long time. So I put that video out so it doesn't just end up on some shelf and in nowhere land, because I think it was pretty good content. Although a lot of the things in there are cheap eats from the Planet Hollywood that's currently closed right now, but it will reopen again, and those cheap eats will be edible for all of us. Okay, next funny travel story. This one is story number 5. We're going back to Asia now, and we went to the southern island, and we were at the Daizaifu Tenmangu Shrine. And at this shrine, we saw this film crew ahead of us, and this film crew, they were looking at us, and we were walking, and they zeroed in on us, and they're like, "Hey, we're shooting a video. Actually, we're shooting a TV show. We're wondering if we could ask you some questions, and we're wondering if maybe we could follow you around while you talk to some of the local Japanese, because we're doing a TV show about teaching people English." And we're like, "Oh, okay, cool, sounds good. Ask us a few questions, follow us around a little bit." Little did we know that would turn into like 2 hours of going around with this TV crew. But it was actually kind of a neat experience. And this was our first experience on Japanese television. So roll a little bit of this from a behind-the-scenes type angle.
Rolling. Thank you. Cool. Thank you. After about a 3-minute walk up that street, the street brigades go that way. But there's something I want to point out over here. There's a long line of Japanese standing in front of it, so you know it's something important. There's an ox here, and this ox is between oxes that carry the kind of enshrine rub the head and but you can tell if you look this way that this is a popular attraction right here. So one of the things about my videos is, so I'm Chris, this is Topher. But usually she's the voice of Topher. So I'm Chris, and together we made Christopher. So he comes with me on all the travel guides. So why don't we get a shot?
Yeah, and so kind of the neat thing about that video, so obviously you see, people say like, where's OC Girl? We want to see OC Girl. And Drinky Drink says, absolutely, there's the OC Girl cameo. So she's filming me. The camera crew is filming us. The coordinator for the Japanese news camera crew took my cell phone and then filmed the situation, which I thought was pretty neat, frankly. It's pretty neat that they're like, "Hey, do you want to get a shot of this to use later?" And so that was neat. And Drinky Drink says that it looks a bit awkward. Being on TV, probably awkward. And if you think about the translation factor, because there was a translator there for me to say things and the translator to translate things, but it's cool. And so P. Law asks if I've ever been on TV. So this was on Japanese TV. I've been on Japanese TV 3 times. This one also in Fukushima for some videos we did in Fukushima, and then also for a documentary they did on Round 1, which is a Japanese arcade. Film crew came to the U.S., and I was part of that show. And then in the U.S., I did a cameo on Newsmax TV when the pandemic got started to talk about travel and those sorts of things. P. Law asks, where's OC Girl from? OC Girl is Taiwanese, so she is from Taiwan. And honestly, Bridget said she never realized that was Topher's name. There we go. That is Topher's name. I'm Chris. He's Topher. Together we make Christopher. Very good. And Aaron says made it to Japan TV. Yeah, Japan TV. So there's another. People always ask me about other YouTube channels that I watch. There's a YouTuber from Japan. His name's Chris Broad. His channel's called Abroad in Japan. And he did a video talking all about Japanese TV. And what's interesting is they're like a fairly reserved culture, but they, like for television, they want you to be really like expressive. And so, they'll be like, hey, Chris, when you drink the milk tea, then we want to hear what it's like, but you'll be like, wow, that's an amazing milk tea. I really enjoy the bergamot flavor. If you guys have ever watched the Mark Wiens YouTube channel where he goes and eats and does spicy things, he always, wow, yeah. So that's Japanese TV, and I can dance and jump like anybody else. Sir says, do you have fun with the crew? And Where's My Map says it looks like a scene out of Lost in Translation. It's a little bit hard to communicate with them because you're communicating through a translator. But I think after, like for Fukushima, we end up, you spend a day with somebody, or you spend a day with a group of people, or Round 1, you spend a day with a group of people, then yeah, absolutely, you can have fun. Ryan wants to know if I ever travel without OC Girl and shoot videos. We typically travel together, but sometimes I travel alone. And in that case, when I'm traveling by myself, then the videos are, I've got like a selfie stick or a Gorilla Pod or something that I shoot them on. So, absolutely. Okay. Laura says, how was Fukushima after the nuclear problem? After the tsunami, you apparently felt safe enough to go there. Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, traveling around the region, at least the parts of it that we went to, you wouldn't really know anything happened or anything went on. We were in the mountain region, which is, albeit fairly far away from the nuclear reactor. Yeah, if you're near the nuclear reactor, there's radiation meters and all that sort of stuff. But that's not really the touristy area. The touristy area is in the mountains where, yeah, absolutely, we felt safe and it was a lot of fun. So I would recommend it. We enjoyed our trip. And so if you want to go to Japan and you want to go to some place off the beaten path, Fukushima is absolutely a place where you could do that. It requires a little bit more adventure and determination because the English speaking out in Fukushima is not nearly as good as it is in like Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto. Jesus wants to know if I made that milk tea. I did not. I got it from a tea shop. I got it from the alley. Okay. So speaking of videos meeting other people, another video where I met a friend filming was when I was filming my video for the worst tourist traps in Las Vegas. And I was shooting this video, and this guy came up to me, and he was wearing a hard hat that had blinking lights in it. And I asked him what his name was, and his name, he introduced himself as Safety Man. And again, you have to appreciate, I've got a camera, I'm standing there, I'm this thing. Just comes up, starts talking to me, and I'm like, "Hey, do you want to be in my video? I am doing a video all about the worst tourist traps in Las Vegas." And he's like, "Absolutely." And so I'm not sure most people watching this video, if they realize that this was about as unplanned as the Oktoberfest video, because I sort of cut out the part where we did the like, hey, who are you, and this and that. Instead, we just started from the like, hey, let's roll this. But this was completely unplanned. I had known this guy for all of about a minute before shooting this video. We'll watch this for 2 minutes.
For these next 2 tourist traps, I'm joined by Safety Man. I met him on the Strip as I was shooting this video, and he wants to share what he thinks a couple of the biggest tourist traps from a safety man's perspective are. So safety man, what do you think the biggest tourist traps are on the Las Vegas Strip?
I think slot machines are the biggest tourist trap, honestly. You know, you sit down at a slot machine, you put it down, let's say you put in $1,000 and you know, you hit that max bet button and you win. Like these lights go off, everything flashes, the dopamine rush in your brain, you're like, yay, I'm a winner. But what really happens is you just won like, you know, like a little bit. You actually lost money, but you feel like you're winning. So you're like, yeah, I want another dopamine rush. You keep hitting it like a rat at a feeder. Just like, I want more dopamine, more dopamine, more dopamine. And then they give you free drinks. So they make you less likely to understand what's going on. And then, before you know it, some people will sell everything in their house so they can get that dopamine rush. They think that's gonna fill what's empty in their, you know, soul. And this slot machine just kind of becomes, you get in a relationship with the slot machine and that dopamine rush, you love it. It's the same thing that happens when you meet a woman and you fall in love. You get these chemicals in your brain that just go off and fire. That's what we call love. This all it's all kind of related. Relationships, slot machines. Yeah. It's addiction. And
addiction's what this place lives on, right? Like Vegas is the city of addiction.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's Sin City. It's Sin City for a reason.
So you were also mentioning shows. You thought shows were a big tourist trap.
Well, what they do is look behind us. They have Donnie and Marie. So let's say you want to go to the Donnie and Marie show at the Flamingo. If you buy the tickets for this, you're gonna have to walk through every single slot machine saying play me, as you make your way to the back. And they're gonna try to pull you into every bar and get you to spend as much money and time as you can. And they make it confusing so you get lost on the way. And by the time you get to the Donnie and Marie show, you're waiting around. They make you get there early. Now you're waiting around, you're gonna buy drinks or you're gonna play the slot machines that are right there saying play me. And when you get in the show, they have a true drink minimum. So now you're spending probably like $50 a person on top of what you paid for the show.
So what you thought was a $50 show is now a $100 show.
Absolutely, and that's not counting the time you're playing the slot machine waiting for the doors to open.
Right. Safety man, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the final tour.
Yeah, Safety Man got famous after that video. That video went on to over 1 million views. I'm sure little did he know that a random guy wearing a yellow shirt with a camera in front of him was going to have a 1 million view video. But and I think maybe some 2 years after that video being on YouTube, then he found the video and he's like, hey, I'm Safety Man. So if you want to see his channel, if you dig through the comments on that video, you will find it. I'm sure somebody told him that knew him to be like, hey, did you know you were in that video? Joe comments about teas. We have so many varieties of tea to drink. I'm from the UK. We just drink hot tea with milk and sugar. But your tea is pretty good in the UK, I have to admit. But yeah, there's a lot of Asian tea shops here in Southern California that I like to frequent to try the different teas. P-Law wants to know if I've ever ran into any subscribers from my channel in real life. For sure, all the time. And there was another question. Abraham asks, how many fans do you meet in a week? Like, it depends where I am. And I will say that during COVID time, clearly since we're just kind of sticking around the house, we're not going anywhere, I meet less people. But an example, if I go to some place that's a big touristy attraction, for example, Disneyland. When I shot the recent Downtown Disney video, I think in the course of the 2 hours that I was at Downtown Disney, 5 groups of people came up to me that said, oh, we love your videos. And one group of them I included in that video. So that might be a typical experience at Disneyland. If we go to downtown LA, we'll run into people. When we go to Fukushima, we don't run into all that many of our subscribers because there just aren't that many of them there. Drinky wants to know if Safety Man is okay. I think he had a little bit to drinky before doing that. So Victor's made it to the live stream. Welcome, Victor. And Guy says, if I'd ever make a video about homelessness in Vegas, it's a big problem there. It is a big problem there. I think there's probably better people to make a video on that one than me. It's not really a social issue channel. I do videos about travel and where to travel. Jeff wants to know if I always wear yellow. I always wear yellow when I make videos. I didn't used to. If you started on this live stream, you would have seen some of the videos that I did early on where I'm wearing lots of different colors. And I don't know, maybe it was 5-6 years ago, my brother-in-law made some yellow shirts for me that had the yellow logo. I was like, Chris, your channel's called Yellow Productions. You should really wear these shirts when you do your videos. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool. And then I started wearing them. And I'd wear them sometimes. And then people would people would say, if I didn't wear it, they're like, where's the yellow shirt? And so now when we go on travel, I literally only pack yellow shirts. That's it. Just yellow shirts. So the answer is when I travel, I only pack yellow shirts. And David says, I loved running into you at Galaxy's Edge. David, it was great to see you at Galaxy's Edge Tour. Too as well. Tour, I'm just out of curiosity, have the ghost tours started up again, or are you still dark on those? I've noticed the San Diego Old Town trolley running again, but I haven't seen the ghost ones. Carlos wants to know if I have subscribers from Japan. I know I have subscribers from Japan, for sure, but there are probably not as many in Japan as, say, Australia, for example. There is the language barrier, which makes it a little bit harder, but there's plenty of Japanese that speak pretty good English too. And for some of you may not know this, but for all of the videos that I do that are recorded videos, actually, I have them captioned by a human. I use a service called Rev, and they charge $1.25 a minute, and a human goes in and writes captions for the video. So you can always turn on any of my recorded video, not live streams because they take too long and they would cost too much money, but for all of the like 10, 15-minute recorded ones, there's always English captions. Like in YouTube, you could click the CC and turn that on. David says we're still dark on the haunted tours. Bummer, David. Well, hopefully as Halloween comes closer. Kevin wants to know if I designed the Yellow Productions crew shorts myself. So the story behind that, so at least this logo. So my brother-in-law designed this logo, and it's gone through a few different evolutions. This is the embroidered Yellow Productions shirt. That logo, the Yellow Productions crew, I had that designed, drawn up. I hired an artist from Fiverr that I'd worked with before for my office survival guide logo, and I knew that I kind of wanted to have like a special shirt, and so I don't know, it probably took a couple weeks of working with the guy to be like, I want it like this, and I want it to look like this, and here's some things, and OC Girl and I drew kind of the initial iterations of it, but we are not artists, and so then we left it to an actual artist to help us with the actual logo. Okay. Pila asked if I ever visited Sydney, Australia. I have. I've been to Sydney once. I've been to Sydney once. I did not do any videos about it because I was there for too short of a time. I was there like a day in and out on another trip, but I did enjoy Sydney. I thought it was kind of a neat place. I spent more time in Melbourne, so there's more video content about Melbourne. All right, so let's go back to Asia now, and I want to share this town with you called Bie. This is a town in the north of Japan, in the island of Hokkaido, which is where Sapporo is. Sapporo is kind of a famous beer. Hokkaido is famous for their mountains. And there's this town called Bie, and the Japanese are really good at making tourist attractions out of, frankly, nothing. And this town is famous for its trees. So let's go ahead and take a look at about 2 minutes of the trees of Bie.
Yellow Productions presents
Bie in Hokkaido, Japan.
If you're looking for some place in Japan that's slightly off the beaten tourist path, Bie is it. Bie is located on Japan's northern island of Hokkaido, approximately 150 kilometers from Sapporo.
Bie Town is a famous farming area in Hokkaido, Japan that's become a recent tourist attraction. The courses that they have a road map that you can drive around that takes you to see various farming areas and scenic trees.
Bie is fairly remote, so if you're touristing around here, you're going to need some form of transportation. The two options are rental car or bicycle. If you get a bicycle, be cautious though, because there are a number of hills, so you need to be fit. I personally recommend the rental car route. Driving in Hokkaido is easy because there's not much traffic, and renting a car is a breeze.
The sites here basically come in two varieties, trees and hills. This site is of the hill variety. This is called the Mild 7 Hill because it's famous for being in a Mild 7 tobacco commercial.
One of the trees on the course is the Ken and Mary tree. This tree was made famous 40 years ago in 1972 for being in a television commercial that had characters named Ken and Mary. In case you're wondering, it's a poplar tree, and what I really do find interesting about this tree is the fact that it's in the middle of nowhere, and there's so many people that come out to see it. It's just as interesting for the tree as it is for the amount of people that come to see this tree that was made famous 40 years ago from a television commercial. And that mild 7 hill we saw before, there were a ton of people taking pictures there too. The basic tourist itinerary here is to drive around, stop in a parking lot, admire the tree or the hill, and then take pictures. Each of the sites on the tour has a name, and some of them you have to be really creative to get the name to the actual thing. For example, there are the parent and child trees, 2 large...
So when I say they're really good about making a tourist attraction out of nothing, like the fact that they print these maps, they give them names, they put parking lots there, I mean, they make this a tourist attraction. Ryan wants to know if I have any more office survival guide videos coming. I have shot one coming later this week, and it's going to be tips for how to not seem lazy when working from home. That's right, many of us are teleworking during the pandemic, and it's very easy potentially for our bosses to think we're not actually doing anything, we're not actually doing any work because they don't see us. And so in this video, I'll give some tips to keep our teams and bosses to think we're doing hard work while we're working at home. Because people say, you know, perception is reality. And so it's not just important that you do hard work, but it's also important that your boss or team know that you do hard work. By the way, if you have not checked out my Office Survival Guide channel, it's my second channel where I give you the skills not just to survive the office week, but give you the skills you need to crush it. You'll find a link to that channel in the description. All right, guys, do you know what time it is? All right, it's Q&A time right now, so Joe says, would you rather stay at a manga cafe or a capsule hotel? I think I'd rather stay at a capsule hotel because I think I would appreciate just a little bit of private space. I don't really love sleeping in public, which you sort of end at with a manga cafe. Joey wants to know what my favorite drink at Japanese convenience stores is. I like the bottled milk teas. I like the bottled green teas. I like the bottled jasmine teas. I got a lot of favorite drinks. I also like CC Lemon, which is this like orange lemony drink. This has got like 50 lemons worth of vitamin C. Laura wants to know, what's the strangest thing you've drank? I drank a really weird kombucha the other day that had like root beer flavor, things like that. I don't know if it's all that weird, but it didn't taste very good. I probably drank a lot of weird things. But I try not to eat like weird food. I don't eat like spiders or brains or all those things. I like to eat and drink things that are tasty. James wants to know how hot it was today in Orange County, which is where I'm coming at you with this live stream. It was about 90 degrees Fahrenheit today. The math in Celsius, I can't do that off the top of my head. P-Law wants to know who my favorite YouTube channel is. It's hard to pick one, and I've actually written a whole live stream I've yet to do. I'll do in the coming weeks about my favorite travel channels, so I think I'll talk about that when we do that video, because I've had that request a lot. And actually, this live stream that we're doing today, people have said, a lot of people asked for this. Chris, can you do a live stream with like some funny stories from your travels? So that's actually why a lot of these things do that. MT asks if since the old intro isn't coming back, could you do a live rendition of the old intro? Pa 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 bum pa pa bum pa bum pa bum pa pa. But when I did that and put that in the intro, I actually recorded it like multiple times in like different octaves and then put them together. So that's why the intro sounds the way it does when it's recorded. The goat wants to know if I've ever been to Sam's Club. For sure, though I'm a member of Costco. I'm not a member of Sam's Club. I like Costco a lot better. Sam's Club feels too much like Walmart. Anil says the voice seems out of sync. Must just be a live streaming issue. Same setup as usual. I think sometimes YouTube Live does that the video and the audio streams get out of sync a little bit. Tiffany wants to know when I'm going to Vegas next. I don't know yet. We don't have any plans currently to go anywhere, so that also answers Geoman's questions. G-Wiz wants to know what I'm willing to buy from Dollar Tree. Paper towels, maybe? Like disposable goods, paper plates? We don't really shop at Dollar Tree or dollar stores all that much. The exception being Daiso, which is like a Japanese equivalent of the dollar store. It's like the $1.50 yen store. The goat wants to know why I have a roaring fire in the background in this heat. So it works out really good to have the red along with the blue, and it kind of counterbalances out with the white balance. That's what I have there. When I've done other things in the background, like beaches and that sort of stuff, then it ends up getting too blue, and then the white balance on my camera just all whacks out. So that's where that comes from. And Laura wants to know if I like to ski, and if so, where. Snowboard, a little more than ski. I would not say we're avid snowboarders. I would say snow tubing, but our favorite snow destination is Vail. Vail, Colorado is our favorite snow destination. It's kind of a neat town. All the hotels are pretty close. Pila wants to know how our daughter is. I just heard her little voice. Yes, I think it's probably just about feeding time for her, which means we're probably going to wrap this up shortly. But she is doing fantastic. Thank you. She's coming up on her 8-month birthday soon. Can you have an 8-month birthday? I think when you're under 1, then everything is this. Travel Adventures with Eric B has asked this question a few times, so thanks for asking it again. Is a $95 helicopter night tour over Vegas worth it? I have never taken a helicopter tour over Vegas, probably because I just, there's helicopter accidents and all that stuff. I think it's probably once in a lifetime experience. You probably don't do it all that much. So if you want to get up in the air and you like that thing, absolutely. OC Girl and I are generally more of the timid variety, so we didn't do that. And Elvis says, is it time for the giveaway? You know what? You know what time it is? Okay, it's giveaway time. So the question to win a Yellow Productions crew shirt today is, what is the name of the first hotel that OC Girl and I stayed at when we went to Japan for the first time? And what city is it in? Name of the hotel and the city. If you get that answer right, then I will ship you a Yellow Productions crew shirt anywhere in the world. And it'll be the Yellow Productions crew shirt right back there. If you don't get to win one, you can buy one on the Yellow Productions Etsy shop. Links in the description below. Alan wants to know Disneyland reopening prediction. I'm going to say next year. I'm going to say next calendar year. That's my prediction. Now, if you look at the dates that they're booking the hotels, they're starting to book hotels in September. But I think that it's going to be a while, because I don't think California is going to give them the go to open. Free to Laugh Now is coming up on their 756th month birthday. That is impressive. Okay, so I'm seeing some names of hotels, and so some people have said Tokyo Inn, which is close, but it's actually not the name of it. Kathy said Tokyo in Osaka. Ryan said that too. Windy City Elevators said Tokyo in Osaka. Honestly, Bridget said Toyoko Inn, which is the name, but you have to get the name and the city together. And so, honestly, Bridget didn't say the city, so let's see who's going to say the city. And the real fun about this is that it's about a 30-second delay. And so here, we'll roll this again.
So we're outside the station now, and we found our hotel. It's the blue lights right behind my head. It's the Toyoko Inn. So we made it to the Toyoko Inn, and let's go check in and see what our room looks like. Let's go. You're here.
And honestly, Bridget is the first one. She said it, and then she said she got it. But, tell you what, We're gonna do 2 for this one because honestly, Bridget was pretty close. She got the name right, and Deb V as well says Osaka Toyoko Inn. So Deb V and honestly, Bridget, congratulations! You both win Yellow Productions Crew shirts. You can send me an email to chris@yellow.net with 2 W's, YELLOWWW.net, chris@yellow.net. Let me know your address, what size you want, and I'll get it going to you. Or you could message me on Facebook. You'll find a link to my Facebook page in the description. Congratulations! To both of you as the winners. Well, the next video, every Friday, there's always a new Yellow Productions video. And of course, there will be a new live stream next week, probably Monday or Tuesday next week. So as usual, I'm not going to say goodbye because I'm going to see you all in the next live stream. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. And if you watched the archive, thank you all for making it to this point in the archive. Keep on exploring.